Good thing you're here. I actually explain how I did the tier list rankings. Because there were no sims, and I stopped collecting data exactly after 1 week after the first reveal, I decided to do a community-based tier list. Now please note that I'm going to come back to this tier list a week before Season 3 releases. We'll update the list and then compare and contrast and see how far off we were or how far on we were. Is your favorite class getting nerfed? Who knows? Anyways, I used data from a lot of community-driven places that have to do with World of Warcraft, such as Wowhead guides and comments, YouTube comments, the WoW forums. A majority of my information came from class discords. Who can forget smaller sites such as Noxic? Huh? Pallies are cool. 2025 Noxic. I took this information, formatted it, gave it to AI Addison, and he turned out some numbers, which we're going to go ahead and look at today. This is Editing Addison. I just wanted to say this is the short, condensed version where I only rank the tier sets on my tier list. If you'd like to check out the longer version, it's linked below. I quickly edited that so that you could just get all of the tiers ranked in no fluff. If you like fluff, check out the long form version. Anyways, let's get into it. Looking back at our tier list here, we have a Deathbringer Blood Death Knight up first. We're going to give it a C. Fans love the Scythe Fantasy and Burst Window, yet complain about random Dancing Rune Weapon and nerf compensating RNG, and the reliability is sus. Looking at Saneland Blood Death Knight, we're going to go ahead and give that an A. With a big single target buff, AoE smoothed out, and still a tiny bit degenerate if stacked Snowball, overall feels stronger and less swingy. Back to our tier list here, we have Deathbringer Frost Death Knight, and where we put it? In B. Widely praised for chunky Exterminate windows, and now damaging Rider by approximately 40%, making this spec feel rewarding despite extra button spam. Looking at Riders of the Apocalypse for Frost Death Knight, we're going to go ahead and put that in C. The theme is cool, but actual DPS lag's way behind. And folks, I've jokingly said, why are you playing this spec? Back to our tier list here, looking at Riders of the Apocalypse for Unholy Death Knight. We're going to go ahead and give it a C. Big single target pop and cool horses, but damage still trails behind an AoE, and several players said it's not fun. Switching gears to Saneland Unholy Death Knight, we're going to go ahead and put that in B. Widely called the better hero spec of the two. It offers smoother wound play, strong AoE, and folks will miss it next expansion. I won't. But back at our tier list here, we have Eldrachi Reaver for Havoc Demon Hunters. We're going to go ahead and put this one in A. It has higher peak damage, it looks quote-unquote bonkers, it wins most raid sims, but it's mechanically nuanced and visually bland for some. Switching over to Felsguard Havoc Demon Hunter, we're going to go ahead and put this one in C. It's easier to play and solid in keys, and even played wrong, it does okay, but lags a few percent behind its counterpart, and it still leans on soul juggling, and that's lame. Back at our tier list here, we have Eldrachi Reaver Vengeance Demon Hunter. We're going to put this one in B. Buffs, and the buffs to Fractured Soul Cleave, and the huge Eldrachi numbers. People love this. Loved for funnel memes and no Spirit Bomb. But it sims a touch lower overall, but it might be more fun to play. Flipping over to Felsguard Vengeance Demon Hunter, we're going to put this one in B. It was constantly called more damage. 30% Immolation Aura, and Soul Cleave buff, plus 20% Demon Soul uptime, which means you can have the biggest raw throughput if you're fine juggling Spirit Bomb. Back to our tier list here, we've got Elune's Chosen Balanced Druid. We're going to put this one in A. Favorite for keys, double beam wow factor, and smoother rotation. This one's got it all. Looking at Keepers of the Grove Balanced Druid, we're going to put this one in C. A niche utility, but bonus feels tacked on and makes no sense to several posters. Back to our tier list here, looking at Druid of the Claw Feral Druid, we're going to give it a C. It's more interactive, but riddled with bugs, and it needs big buffs. Looking at Wildstalker Feral Druid, we're going to go ahead and give that a C as well. Higher raid DPS and rocks and keys, but it's boring single target and boring overall. Back to our tier list here, we've got Druid of the Claw Guardian Druid. We're going to give this a C. Popular EC mentions cite big cooldown reduction bursts, and dungeon success. Drawbacks are mainly bugs, not fundamentals. Looking at Elune's Chosen Guardian Druid, we're going to give it a B. Called Shameless, Dead, and Bugged, though a few arguments still are there for ramp specs. It needs fixes and buffs to even compete. Where does Keepers of the Grove Resto Druid go? In D. This one's just bugged. It just needs a bunch of fixes. Good luck. Looking at Wildstalker Resto Druid, we're going to put this one in S. Constantly praised for throughput and fun, it rocks in M+, and there's no nerfs as of yet, or is there? The only worry is future tuning and being nerfed. Back at our tier list here, we have Chrono Warden Augmentation Evoker. This is going to go in C. Fun Pigment of Time flavor, unique party utility, but poor haze scaling. You feel like a life-bind bot. Awkward and pugs, please help. Flipping to Scale Commander Augmentation Evoker, we're going to put this one in A. It synergizes amazingly with Breath of Eons, cool visuals, and the tooltip's finally fixed. You can hard desync offensives, and it's still pretty buggy in the logs though. Back at our tier list here, looking at Flame Shaper Devastation Evoker, we're going to put this one in A. It beats Scale Commander at 5+ targets, and it has solid AoE, but more than half the channels chant, rework, Flame Shaper after every PTR cycle. It's strong but clunky. And flipping over to Scale Commander Devastation Evoker, we're going to give this one a C. Again, the tooltip was finally fixed, and single target burst is praised. Yet some refer to it as Fury Warrior in dragon form, and falls off in wilder pools. Back to our tier list here, looking at Chrono Warden Preservation Evoker, we're going to put this one in C. It's praised for its burst healing and synergy, yet mocked for its 0 haste scaling, and being a lifeline bot yet again. Several people said it was declared dead. Looking at Flame Shaper Preservation Evoker, we're gonna give this one a B. Seen as a fallback if Chrono Warden fails, if Chrono Warden forces Blossom casts. Players call it more fun and useful in Mythic Plus, and there's fewer complaints overall. Back here at our tier list, we're gonna at Dark Ranger Beast Mastery Hunter. We're gonna give this one a C. The reviews are mostly lukewarm to negative. Several users called it still dead, saying it's too AoE focused and in need of buffs. A few note that the 4-piece Withering Fires could be strong. Looking at Pack Leader Beast Mastery Hunter, we're gonna give this one an A. It's mostly hype. Juicy bonuses line up with constant Bestial Wrath, and the new Stampede proc slaps in M+, and raids. The only gripe is clarity. Back here at our tier wall, looking at Dark Ranger Marksman Hunter. This one's gonna get an S. An S. Very positive. Viewed as the go-to for single target and even respectable cleave. Synergizes perfectly with the new 4-piece and CDR loop. Buffing Marksman plus buffing DR plus DR set. Flipping over to Sentinel Marksman Hunter, we're gonna give this one a C. Overall pretty mixed. Praise for huge AoE potential and infinite loop memes, but people find the downtime pretty clunky. Back at our tier wall here, we got Pack Leader Survival Hunter. We're gonna give this one an A. It's consistent damage, stampede bursts, and it brings group utility. Repeatedly stated, it's the better option of the two. Flipping over to Sentinel Survival Hunter, we're gonna give this one a C. It's cozy, low maintenance playstyle, but the burst drops off heavily, and the bonus for the tier set is deemed meh. Just in time for the tier wall, we have Spellslinger Arcane Mage. We're gonna give this one a B. This is the AoE king for keys, someone said, and someone answered, it dunks on trash. Still bis in many of the sims, but some fear incoming nerfs. Looking at Sun Fury Arcane Mage, we're gonna give this one an A. Someone said it has comfy execute flavored playstyle and super strong single target, but it has weaker burst potential, and nothing has really changed since last season. Back here at the tier wall, we're looking at Frostfire Fire Mage. We're gonna give this one an A. Flashy numbers, flashy burn plus big numbers. Woo! All the clunky mastery talk was shrugged off by big damage. Looking at Sun Fury Fire Mage, we're gonna give this one a B. It's stylish but unreliable. It needs tuning or a quality life touch to reclaim the spot. It needs help. Back at the tier wall, we're looking at Frostfire Frost Mage. We're gonna give this one a C. As flashy Phoenix Flame visuals, but AoE and single target balancing and scaling issues keep trust super low. Looking at Spellslinger Frost Mage, we're gonna give this one a B. It has better scaling after the 40% mastery buff, and it's a lot more stable in sims, and people like stable things. Well, some of us. Just in time for the tier wall. Don't you love when a Brewmaster just falls over? Looking at Master of Harmony Brewmaster Monk, we're gonna give this one a B. It looks stronger in single target and gives a chunky self-heal, but several players called it boring compared to the other hero talent. Conversely, looking at Shadow Pan Brewmaster Monk, we're gonna give this one an A. Widely described as fun and powerful in many AoE situations, it synergizes cleanly with the new tier set's flurry procs. Play feels praised. At the tier wall here, we're looking at Conduit of the Celestials Mistweaver Monk. We're gonna give this one an A. Praised for its familiar, press for burst, cooldown, playstyle, and fewer bugs. Viewed as reliable and rated M+. Taking a look at Master of Harmony Mistweaver Monk, we're gonna give this one a B. Liked for its passive throughput amp, and popularity Mythic Plus, but chatter about tuning gaps and lingering bugs keep trust low. Go back to the tier wall yet again. We have Conduit of the Celestials Windwalker Monk. We're gonna give this one an S. An S. Widely viewed as the go-to in raids and Mythic Plus, players praise its ceiling if you are able to nail the opener. Looking at Shadowpan Windwalker Monk, we're gonna give this one an A. Considered roughly equal to its predecessor in Mythic Plus and easier to play overall, but if you recommend it for progging raid. At the tier wall yet again, we have Herald of the Sun, Holy Paladin. We're gonna give this one a C. Burst healing and familiar playstyle, but spread healing, weakness, and low synergy leave it trailing behind Lightsmith. Speaking of Lightsmith, we're looking at Lightsmith, Holy Paladin here. We're gonna give this one an A. It's viewed as the stronger of the two as a plug-and-play option. Big bump for the Season 3 tier compared to Season 2, and has an easier rotational flow now. Looking at Lightsmith, Protection Paladin, we're gonna give this one an A. It's gonna be the default raid and key pick, easy damage bump for Lightsmith players. It plays clean with tier and no bug drama. Speaking of bugs, looking at Templar Protection Paladin, we're gonna give this one a C. It's still praised when working, but unfortunately the first week it came out for 11.2, there was a ton of bugs, so trust is super low. Welcome back to the tier wall. This next one's pretty sad. Looking at Herald of the Sun Retribution Paladin, we're gonna give this a D. If there was an F, I'd give it an F, but we can't. Some quotes, blows. Why is it still in the game? Who plays this? Herald is Herald. Looking at Templar Retribution Paladin, we're gonna give this one an S. This one was quoted as slaps, wild. Many are testing builds around it, and the only concern is the overcapping of holy power. Back here at the tier wall, we got Oracle Discipline Priest. We're gonna give this one the highest grade, S. Massive burst shielding and CDR. This one was praised a lot. People love the mini barrier every 30 seconds, but they fear the nerfs that might come. Looking at Void Weaver Discipline Priest, we're gonna give this one a C. Flashier visuals, but throughput's lacking. Community calls it copium, unless Blizz buffs atonement healing. Back here at the tier wall, looking at Archon Holy Priest, we're gonna give it a C. It's fun and easy, but being super Halo locked and it needs buffs. Looking at Oracle Holy Priest, we're gonna give this one an A. It is what someone called bonkers throughput, and someone said POM abuse. It's strong in raid and keys and will be played. Back here at the tier wall, looking at Archon Shadow Priest, we're gonna give this one a C. It generates a ton of insanity and is more fun for some, but others call the bonus and damage tuning is a little bit behind. Speaking of Void Weaver Shadow Priest here, we're gonna give this one an A. It's viewed as the stronger between the two and has a burst heavy option. Buffs pushed it ahead of Archon. Void Weaver was the go-to in a poll between Void Weaver and Archon. Back here sneaking around our tier list, we got Deathstalker Assassination Rogue. We're gonna give this one a B. Dry Shiv Windows obliterate priority targets, someone said. Still the safest rotation for Sin, making it both flashy and forgiving. Looking at Fate-bound Assassination Rogue, we're gonna give this one a C. Coin flip cooldown is cool in theory, but you have straight RNG pain when you miss it. Back here at the tier wall, and looking at Fate-bound yet again for Outlaw Rogues, we're gonna give this a C for the exact same reason last time. Flipping a coin and just getting nothing is feels terrible. Looking at Trickster Outlaw Rogue, we're gonna give this one an A. This was, and I quote, an exciting one. Double Coop meme, smoother with the chaos rework. Only gripe was tracking reset, someone said. Deathstalker Subtlety Rogue, we're gonna give this one a C. Adds a gimmick dot that barely dents the meters. Most rogues swap to Trickster once they see the numbers. Speaking of looking at Trickster Subtlety Rogue here, we're gonna give this one an A. The double coop 4-piece into a meme highlight reel, and still parses near the top. Back here at the summon tier list, we got Farseer Elemental Shaman. We're gonna give this one a B. Ancestor Totems look sick and pad logs, but single target is a tier behind Stormbringer. Speaking of, we got Stormbringer Elemental Shaman. We're gonna give this one an A. Someone called it a lightning carnival. Chain crits, proc fireworks, and the crowd goes wild until you get nerfed. At the tier wall yet again, we got Stormbringer Enhancement Shaman. We're gonna give this one a B. Massive bursts if you nail the timing right, but miss a proc and your damage flatlines. Looking at Totemic Enhancement Shaman, we're gonna give this one a C. This version's a low stress, very chill playstyle. Fewer buttons, fewer mistakes, just cruise. Here's our tier wall, and we're looking at Farseer Resto Shaman. We're gonna give this one a B. Spirit Ancestry visuals score style points, yet raw HPS lags behind. Flipping over to Totemic Resto Shaman here, we're gonna give this one a B2. Spam Healing Rain, rake in passive buffs, and watch raid leaders smile. Simple, effective, just don't fall asleep. Our tier wall, Hellcaller Affliction Warlock. We're gonna give this one a D. Perceived as mechanically busy and very lackluster, forcing the whole rotation around one dot. Some like the concept, but many called it tragic in practice. Flipping over to Soul Harvester Affliction Warlock, we're gonna give this one a C. This is seen as the smoother, more burst-friendly option, and someone called it interesting. Someone said it looks way better than HC, but it's still criticized for theme execution and afterthought souls. Back at the tier wall here, we have Diabolus Demonology Warlock. We're gonna give this one a B. Summons extra critters every cycle. Great spectacle, but you're stuck behind 3 oculi. Looking at Soul Harvest Demonology Warlock, we're gonna give this one an A. It's a shard printer on steroids. PTR sim so high that people are expecting it to be nerfed. Back at our tier wall here, we have Diabolus Destruction Warlock. We're gonna give this one a B. Floating eyeballs fling fire for you? Awesome, someone said, but limited uptime caps the real gain. Looking at Hellcaller Destruction Warlock, we're gonna give this one an S. Someone called this a true meatball build. Reign of Chaos on demand, screen full of meteors. Meteors go kaboom. Back here at the tier wall, we have Colossus Arms Warrior. We're gonna give this one a C. Giant Swing Fantasy sells itself. We have little sim data and people are expecting a nerf. Looking at Slayer Arms Warrior, we're gonna give this one a B. Someone said this looks mathematically solid, but emotionally flat. Does its job while putting chat to sleep. Looking at Mountain Thane Fury Warrior, we're gonna give this one a surprise A. Lives on crit and haste adrenaline. Play it right and your rage bar never empties. You still just be sad. Looking at Slayer Fury Warrior, we're gonna give this one a C. It's still hunting an identity, and it parses low enough that most just swap to the other hero talent. Looking here at our beautiful tier list, these are our last two. We have Colossus Protection Warrior. We're gonna give this one an A. Every proc hands you free rage. Shield block flows like water, and healers breathe easy. You can misplay this and do okay. Looking at Mountain Thane Protection Warrior, we're gonna give this one a B. This is a haste junkie's dream. Faster GCD, faster mitigation. Raw damage is right behind Colossus. Thanks for checking out the video. Like, subscribe, or don't like it, or whatever you want to do. I'll see you guys back here a week before Season 3 starts when we amend the list and see who's the saddest. Will it be Druids? Who knows? Till then, clean your belly button. Comment, what are you doing? Comment.